Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is BC Garn Semilla Melange. This 100% GOTS organic wool yarn features 29 colors. The colorway that we chose is 12 Rust. This 50 gram skein with 175 meters or 191 yards works up as a DK weight yarn. The suggested gauge on a US 6 to 8 or 4 to 5 millimeter needles is 22 stitches per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For our swatch, I will be using a 4.5 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score BC Garn Semilla Melange using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you and your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Would you like to see how all of our yarns compare to one another or enter to win our monthly giveaway? Join our free newsletter linked in the description box below. Let's get started. For availability, we give Semilla Melange a score of 4 out of 5. BC Garn was established as a family Danish yarn company in the 1970s. They have a passion for spinning luxurious, organic, and ecologically minded yarns. This one in particular is one of their most popular yarns and is pretty widely available not only at smaller shops in the US, but you can also order it from overseas, like from Lindy Hobby, a website recommended by a few of our wonderful subscribers. For softness, we give it a score of 3.7 out of 5. The wool from this yarn originates from Argentina, and the feeling of it kind of reminded me of a vintage sweater with a worn-in softness from a previously rustic wool. Like when you go to the thrift store and find a 100% wool sweater from the 90s that's recognizably been worn and loved. I hope that kind of paints a picture in your head. So it's not really rustic, and it's not really soft. It reminds me of a matte recycled wool. It wasn't super irritating, but I wasn't blown away. For a comparison, it is softer than Drop's Fable and not quite as soft as Knitting for Olive Merino. I'd say it's pretty comparable softness-wise to Cascade Yarn's 220, but honestly, it feels more similar to Scabier's Terrazzo, but not quite as soft as that. For a micron count or softness scale rating, we'd estimate it to be around a 26 or 27, which is average for a Peruvian Highland wool. This puts it in the category of a mid-range wool, perhaps offering a balance between softness and durability that could make it suitable for a variety of projects like sweaters or scarves. While it's not as soft as a finer wool type like merino, it could still be comfortable to wear and offer a more rustic feel if you don't have sensitive skin. I'm not quite certain if I could wear it, and I did want to mention that it didn't soften much or at all with blocking. For traction, we give it a score of 3.5 out of 5. This 2-ply yarn that isn't super rustic but also not the softest actually stuck to my finger a little bit. I also didn't feel like it had much bounce or give while working with it, something I was surprised by with this being a 100% wool yarn. I can typically expect a bit of bounce, which I appreciate and I feel like makes working with it easier. If you've worked with a cotton yarn, for example, also with no bounce, it's a bit more frustrating to work with, and fortunately that is what this yarn reminded me of in that sense rather than a wool. For durability, we give it a score of 4.5 out of 5. Yes, we know this is 100% non-superwash treated wool, but not what kind. Peruvian Highland wool? Probably, and the qualities of Peruvian Highland wool would allow this yarn to have more strength and make it hardier than, for example, a soft merino. And when it came to the stress test, our swatch didn't seem to like it. There was a noticeable amount of pilling feeling it with my hand, and it really stretched out and irritated the stitches. I thought this could be because I used a needle size larger than recommended, but that's not the case, so I'm not quite sure what happened. For cost, we give it a score of 3.6 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $11 US per skein. That breaks down to just under 6 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater quantity would cost approximately $88. Overall, we give BC Garn Semilla Melange a score of 3.86 out of 5. This was a unique wool, and it took me a little while to figure out my words to describe it. I hope you can understand what I was trying to say. It has a beautiful mix or melange color, a mid-softness, maybe not a yarn that I'll use again, but it would be great for felting projects and if you prefer a non-superwash little bit more of a rustic wool. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use this yarn for a project of your own. The first pattern is LENCHEN by Regina Moessmer. It comes in 7 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35 to 48.5 inches and recommends positive ease. It suggests using a US 6 or 4mm needle size to meet gauge. It is worked seamlessly from the top down. It starts with a provisional cast on for the shawl collar, from which you pick up stitches for the neckline shaping. Shoulders are shaped by using the contiguous method. When shoulder shaping is done, increases for sleeves and front shaping is worked. And after the sleeve division, you continue to knit straight down until the pockets are worked. The next pattern is Sebright by Inman. It comes in 1 size, measuring approximately 65 by 22 inches, and estimates using 3 skeins of this yarn, or 524 meters. It recommends using a US 7 or 4.5mm needle size to meet gauge. It actually is worked starting from one corner rather than at the center of the longest side like some wraps or shawls do. It features a garter stitch edge and a repetitive lace design. The last pattern is the Calla sweater by Natasja Hornby. It comes in 7 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35.5 to 59 inches and recommends 4 inches or 10 centimeters of positive ease. It suggests using a US 4, 5, and 6 or 3.5, 3 3/4, and 4mm needle size in a broken rib to meet gauge. It is worked seamlessly from the top down. The contiguous set and sleeve method is used to further shape the yoke and the sleeve caps. What I thought was really cool is that once the yoke is finished, you will turn your work inside out so the major part of the body can be worked in stockinette instead of reverse stockinette or purl stitches. When you reach the beginning of the Calla pattern, the body is turned to the right side again. This design includes a boat neck, cables, lace, broken rib stitch, and a picot bind-off edge. Have you used BC Garn Semilla Melange yarn before? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's review, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.